Hello, Brain
Hello,
Candy
friends.
Podcast. We're back.
We're back. Did you miss us? We sound like that because we
Episode
missed you.
841. What's that from?
I don't know. 841. Are you sure it's not higher than that? No, you're right.
I hope that's it.
In my mind, we were at like 889. I was like,
Oh my
we're almost at
God.
900. But I guess I have a little bit of time before that.
Yeah, you got some time. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know.
841, I think. But wait, what movie is that from? Is that Chucky? What is that?
It's from...
Gremlins?
No, it's a woman saying it. And it's like
Google.
the audio has been turned into a TikTok audio or Instagram audio that's now used all the time.
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Is that
Yeah.
it? I think it might be. Yeah, Poltergeist. When I Google it, that's what came up. But I've never seen that.
Oh, that's
Have
a
you?
scary movie. Absolutely, I have.
What's the
And
villain in that one?
Ghosts? The undead? What's the villain in Poltergeist? The villain in Poltergeist are the souls of the indigenous people who were here before us
Lord.
and who were buried in a gravesite, and then somebody built a house on top of that, and then all hell breaks loose. Literally.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's sort of like the staticky on the TV. And I'll tell you, all these movies, if you get any movie from like that is like pre-1990, I'm always 1 degree of separation away from any character in there. So the woman who plays the psychic, who's the really short lady, who's in a bunch of movies, is like a character actor from that era, had just done a commercial with my mom, either right before or right after the second one or something like that, but told her all about it and was saying that there were very creepy things that happened on that set.
I think there's a whole
I get goosebumps about it, right?
I think there's an E! True Hollywood story about Poltergeist.
Yeah, it's
Haunted or something.
Haunted.
Cursed. Damn.
It's spooky.
It's totally spooky. And it is, I mean, it's true, it's still August, but
It's spooky season. I'm sorry. When the kids go back to school, as soon as the pencils are sharpened and the school supplies is for sale, it's spooky season.
wow.
That
We got
is-
our first spooky season of 2024.
Because it feels like the colors shift. You know, we go from those summer colors. It's like when the time of year when I put the neon away.
Yes.
And I get out the dark academia clothing. It's a lot of plaid. It's a lot of like corduroy and like earth tones.
Yeah. Earthy.
I am
You're
into
feeling
it.
You are
It is my favorite. Please.
so happy for you.
I know. I just love the fall, and the colors are going to change.
Spooktacular.
Is that silly to...
I mean, it is. We're basic right now, but that's all right. You know, those pumpkin spice girlies.
But I'm not like, don't lump me into that category.
Yeah.
I've owned one
You're
of those
like,
wide brim hats for
Wednesday
so
Addams.
long. And I have tried, I have made attempts to be that woman. I am not her. It is currently listed on
You don't-
Facebook Marketplace. Are you in the market?
Really?
Would you
Your
like a great
hat?
hat? Susie, this hat was so expensive. And it was like, I bought it when I thought I was like this person living in Orange County.
I don't feel
And
like I could pull it off.
I think you could. You have
How
good
much
boots.
we talking? I thought you
How
said
much-
boobs.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
I was like, yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
that's what it takes. You need a nice rack
Tell me
to pull
something I
off a
don't
nice
know.
hat. Yeah. Like, how
Wait a
much do you
minute,
think
yeah.
a nice, like one of those nice hats, like how much
like
do you
a
think?
proper.
Yeah.
Is it suede or something?
It's like that felt material.
I don't know, $400.
Oh my God, what if? It's 110 and even that was insane.
I mean, I
To
don't
me,
know. You
that's like
scared
on a
me.
hat that, please.
On a hat, she said.
Please.
I'm sorry. I was flying blind. I've never
That's
bought
the
a
price
hat.
that I would pay for. Maybe I'd pay $125 for a solid helmet, like maybe a snowboard helmet, I get $89 because its job is to protect my brain and to make it so I don't die.
Listen, I thought maybe it was like handcrafted or something.
They do have those. They do.
I thought this was
it
like
could have been that.
artisan.
And if it were like one of those, if I had bought it in like Aspen, they have those
I thought
shops.
that.
Oh my
well, listen,
God.
you were real hoity-toity back
I
then.
know.
Sarah
It could've
flying
gone-
first
it-
class.
It could have been like that.
Yeah.
Can you believe that was my life one time?
No.
I
It
can't
was
either.
weird.
It is so crazy. I should have enjoyed it more. I think about that all the time.
I
I
mean,
should
you
have.
enjoyed it a fair amount.
I mean, I did, but I didn't take advantage of it in the way I should have. I should have. Anytime something happened that I should have been like, hit 'em up style, like go to the store and run that credit card and like.
You for sure should have.
Why didn't I do that?
I don't know.
No, that would be not nice to do.
Sarah is the only
Ay,
fool
I'm such a
who
fucking
married a
fool.
rich guy for love.
I know. I fucking know. And didn't. What the fuck was wrong with me? And paid my own bills still. Like
So
and
stupid.
What a fool! I could have been. I didn't know. You don't know what yet, but
Listen, there's still time.
I did enjoy some.
You
good
could
wine
correct
for a while.
this. You
I
could right this wrong.
I could. And now, now they're probably older. They've got some like built multiple businesses, some trusts maybe. I don't know.
Listen, there's a lot of rich guys and gals still out there.
Yeah.
You can marry any one of them for no good reason besides their money.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind.
Yeah.
But
Rich
at least if you
lesbian.
do
Hey,
marry a rich person, have some fun.
I know.
You were still like so thrifty.
I know. What is
was really
wrong
nice
with
of you.
me? I think back and I can remember times where I'm like shopping at like the Goodwill.
I know.
What is actually wrong with
Nice.
me? Well,
You're a
actually, I
good
do know what's wrong with
soul.
me. It's one of the things that I read about and was going to talk about today. This is funny. It somehow always comes up. But I read an article, I think this was in like a financial magazine, Financial Times, something like that, that was on money dysmorphia. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay. Susie, I have this.
Okay.
And then when I shared it with my mom.
Is this about tightwads?
Yes.
Did they
in a
use that
way,
word?
They
'Cause-
didn't use that word.
Oh, okay.
But it was specifically money dysphoria.
Okay. I can't wait to hear
Oh,
about
sorry, dysmorphia. I'm saying that wrong. But dysmorphia. The same way, you have
Dysmorphia.
body dysmorphia, where you look in the
Yes.
mirror and your image, the what you see in your mind doesn't match what you maybe really look like.
it. Yeah.
This is the same concept with financial safety and security, and it's a negative, unrealistic perception of one's financial wellness.
Yeah.
So and the interesting thing that the article was talking about how the numbers for this are rising. And there 29% of people that were surveyed for this reported that they experience some form of money dysmorphia.
God, what are the symptoms?
43% of Gen Zers, 41% of millennials, 25% of Gen Xers, and 14% of people ages 59 and up.
All right. So, what are the symptoms?
So the symptoms are having a feeling, this unrealistic fear that you are going to be, all your money is going to go away. You're going to be homeless on the streets. So
I
there's
mean,
people who are like, I'm so scared. But
I think about this every single day.
every single day. And
Yeah.
this is usually disproportionate to, or it doesn't make sense, that fear, for the financial security that they actually have. Where you shouldn't be feeling like that if you have more than 3 months of savings in the bank, so if something were to happen, like there's this feeling of constant inadequacy,
Yes.
and let me see. I'm going to look up the other symptoms.
That's fine. You look that up, and I'll tell you what I have symptoms of.
okay.
And that is fantastic hair growth thanks to Nutrafol.
Yes.
I was just thinking about this the other day because I was going through old pictures and I saw the era right after my hair incident at the salon where
Yes.
half of it was in the garbage can when I left. And that was 2 years ago, which is crazy. I think it was 2.5 years ago. And so now like the new growth is like about chin length. If you ever see my hair pulled up, like in some of my
Yep.
pictures, you'll see like these big pieces sort of hanging down. Those are like the new growth pieces. And that's thanks to Nutrafol. And this is like not like freaking voodoo Dr. Bombay stuff. This is like
Yes.
legit science. It's a supplement you can take that is proven scientifically to help with all of that nonsense. It is a nightmare. It's the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1 million people. You'll see thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. And my stylist always comments on it, how I have so much less shedding. I feel the thickness. It takes forever to dry this area
wow.
up here.
I noticed so much. I've been watching that
Yeah.
ponytail of yours and it grow and grow. And it used to be just like
up top.
little.
Yeah, a
Yep.
little ball. I
Yep.
know. And like we got through it, Sarah. We got through it together. Get results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Brain Candy. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code Brain Candy. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Brain Candy.
Yeah. Okay, so some of the other symptoms: chronic under evaluation, so feeling like you never have enough money even when your financial situation is stable or healthy, and you may consistently worry about finances despite having savings or a good income. Guilt and shame, so experiences of intense guilt or shame when spending money, even on necessary or reasonable purchases.
You have this.
Susie, I am currently working with a washing machine that is not draining, and instead I'm holding the hose over the sink to like nope. Buy yourself a goddamn new washing machine.
How did you get like this though? What is the cause of this for you? Because
So here's what I'm thinking. So I couldn't find anything about what they linked to the cause. There were there were hints at this idea of, or the article was talking about how it might be that these financial worries come from this idea of these money milestones that we're supposed to hit, or that we saw our parents hitting, or the generations before us hitting, and so we're not hitting those. These new generations are not able to hit those in the same way because of how everything is, the economy and all that. And that is causing these feelings of inadequacy or like not enoughness and like scarcity kind of mindset.
But I feel like maybe in your case, it's also because I don't think that's true for you as much.
I don't either. I think it's, so what I was thinking is, and of course it's probably different for everybody, but maybe there's something about having worries or being exposed to adult financial conversations without the understanding. You know, I can remember the times where my mom just wouldn't, I mean, she worked in the film industry, so there'd be times where she wouldn't have jobs for a while. It was really feast or famine.
Unstable.
And when she would talk about not having a job for a while, there was this panic behind it of like, I don't know if I'll ever work again. And so it planted in my head, I think, these early messages of like, that money might disappear even though I don't have the same kind of job. It's not like that, you know?
Yeah.
But I can't undo those messages. about.
I also feel like maybe in your case, maybe I'm totally off base here, but do you think it has to do at all with like self-worth? Like you don't feel like you deserve a new washer or something?
Absolutely. That's one of the other symptoms, that imposter syndrome in finances, feeling like you don't deserve the money you have or that you're somehow faking it when it comes to your financial success. This might make you feel anxious about being exposed or as financially irresponsible or unworthy. Totally. Especially like when, and winning money on a game show, I feel like, well, that doesn't count as actual, like, even though I used that to pay off all of my undergrad student loans, paid all of those. It's
Yeah.
like, nope,
Like
I'm
there's
taking
a sense
care
of
that.
like you didn't deserve it. And
Yeah.
and maybe too, like I think that maybe you think I can manage with this
Yeah,
washer. Like I don't deserve or maybe just need
yeah,
like a new high end or whatever.
right. And I think also having
You're humble.
a mom that lives in Costa Rica where it will change you if you go live in another country where I don't know where I heard this, but it made so much sense to me. Somebody was talking about options and how when you go to Costa Rica and you're buying a trash can, or there is
Yeah, there's like one.
a trash can.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, I'm going to get the one that matches this. Is it perfect? What'll everybody think? It's not like, and the Pinterest-worthy pictures are of nature, are of outside, you know, the
Right.
stuff that really matters. And
Right.
so it feels like there's a little bit of that, of being exposed to that and living
I
with
was-
like nothing. My mom, like, she just built a outdoor like pagoda kind of thing with and added a washer dryer, but before that she was using one of those old timey. Remember when we went to Brazil and a washboard? Like they didn't have, she didn't have a washer dryer in the house yet.
Okay.
Now she does. They built that. She built a patio, and well, she didn't. She had builders
Yeah.
build a patio and everything. But
I was just
when I was
thinking
there, I
last
was like,
night.
no, I'm washing my stuff in the sink. What else?
I was looking at my duvet cover
Yeah.
and I thought, I feel like I do not know how long most people keep an item.
Okay. How long they keep an item?
Yeah, like how long
Okay.
do they use a duvet cover? Is it 1 year, 10 years?
No, it's got to be more.
More than
Okay.
10?
This is. I think I'm going on more than 10 with mine. I use the Brooklinen linen.
Yeah.
I have those linen sheets. Guaranteed, it's been almost 10 years.
I think you might be unusual.
You think people are?
I think
What about
people
you?
might be- No, I'm with you. My mom
We're
still has
into
comforters from my childhood.
And they are the best. I'm sorry. I have wool. My ski socks are the same ski socks that I wore when I was a child. That when I was a teenager, I have ski socks. They do not make ski clothes that perform better than the 100% wool stuff that I got back in the 80s. That is the 80s and 90s, like, and probably earlier than that. The new materials, the waterproofing has improved. Don't get me wrong. But the underlayers,
Yeah.
you cannot find base layers that I think perform in the same way those wool ones do. And people are going to, I hear
think
you.
we're weird though.
Like
I really
merino
do,
silk.
Sarah.
Nope, sorry. It's not the same.
I think people are pretty much like constantly updating. Like,
that seems crazy expensive.
I know that's what I'm always thinking. How are people
How
paying
to,
for all
like,
that?
how?
I don't know.
When there's so many things where I'm like, oh, I got to refill. And it seems like all of my items, I talk about this probably once a year on the podcast, where there'll be one time it hits maybe every, I don't know, 2 years or where all of my hair products will run out at the same time.
Yeah.
All my skincare products I'll have to buy new makeup.
You're
and
like,
it's
I guess
like,
I gotta
I am
remortgage.
spending $1,000 this month on, I can't believe I am spending so much fucking money. A new bottle of olive oil. That, you know, if you get the big ones, fucking forget it.
We are so weird.
Is it us?
I think it might be. I think most people are like, yikes, ladies, maybe we should upgrade our Patreon.
I know. Like, and
yes,
and
do
it's,
that,
it's,
please.
but it's one of those things where I'm like,
Sarah
I'm
needs a
working
new
so
duvet
hard.
cover.
It's like when we were driving we were in, where were we just together? Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in a Uber in Detroit, and no, we were together.
We worked
think.
together, but you did take a separate Uber to the
Oh
sushi
no,
place.
this was with other friends. I was like, I was in a cab with friends. I was with my friend Jesse and Ashley, and we were in a like a ride share, like the shuttle that was taking us somewhere, and we were passing all these really nice houses, and I'm like, there were multiple houses where there was this beautiful river, like creek, that ran through like their front yard. And I'm like, what do these people do? What? Because I feel like
always
I'm
think
working
that.
really hard. Like,
Sarah,
I
always
want to know
think this.
what job do I need to do to have river through my front door money, like front yard money, like, because it is not this. It's not being
not
a therapist.
Podcasting? Oh.
It's not like, you know.
Yeah. It's not being one of a gazillion podcasts.
Right. No.
What?
And it's not working in the wellness, in the mental health field.
Big mistake.
Huge.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's not being a scholar of religion.
Right. What were you freaking thinking? We're never going to have river through
Literally.
our front yard money.
I would say once a week I say to Ad, should I go to law school? Because
You would
it's
be
like,
a great
this
lawyer.
is
You'd be really
stupid.
good.
That's what I'm saying. What?
Susie.
Like it's hard?
Right.
I'm just like 3 bad years and then you're set for life. The
Yeah.
fuck? Not me.
Right.
I'm going to learn about evangelicals. What?
I'm going to help people feel better.
Sarah, we
should
need
have been
life
like
coaches.
exploiting them. That's how people make their money. Instead, here we are just sharing our thoughts and
Toiling
feelings.
away, wondering when to replace our
Creating
duvet
a
covers.
nice community at affordable prices. I mean, that's
I
what we all
hope this
gotta do.
really does garner sympathy. And if it does, may I suggest that you use our codes and get some delicious bread. Wild grain bread is where
Yes.
it's at.
I need
My
to
s-
re-up. I just ate my last croissant. Sundays are my croissant days.
It sounds like a metaphor.
It kind of
But
is.
Yeah, it is.
Like-
and it isn't. My sister has a subscription, and she said that sometimes her and her husband will just like have bread for dinner.
Right. It's
Like, it's so good.
and did I post the video? Maybe you guys saw it. Do not sleep on that ciabatta bread, because here's
yeah,
what
that's
here's
good.
what has happened. I have tried other ciabatta, which has made me think that ciabatta is crappy bread, because if you get it anywhere else, it's
like
dry.
stale. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was the last loaf I had. I got like the variety pack, and I like
Yeah.
didn't pick. And you
Yeah.
know, it's like you leave it, and you're like, maybe I guess I'll eat this. Holy shit, Susie! I'm going to admit this. I ate the entire loaf in one day. I made that I don't care. It's like a Middle Eastern dish, shakshuka, something
yeah.
like that, with like tomato
the
sauce
tomato,
with egg.
yeah, in the skillet.
I ate the whole thing. I ate the whole entire loaf of bread. I have no regrets.
Yeah.
Except now I have no more bread. That's
I'm-
my one regret.
Except now it's gone. And you can enjoy this bliss yourself. They ship it to your door frozen. You bake it. It takes like 20 minutes. It's no time at all. No thawing required or anything like that. And then it is like you're in a bakery. For a limited time, you can get $30 off the first box plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/braincandy to start your subscription. You heard me. Free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/braincandy. That's wildgrain.com/braincandy. Or you can use promo code braincandy at checkout.
Okay, so some of the other things, just to finish up our conversation on this financial dysmorphia. Some of the other symptoms, we talked about the imposter syndrome, distorted perception of wealth. So viewing others as being far wealthier or financially secure than they really are, while seeing yourself as significantly So basically our last 10 minutes of conversation.
Oopsies.
Fear of financial ruin, constantly worrying about
Yep.
losing everything,
Every
even
day.
when there's no immediate risk.
Every day I think about this.
Every single day. Fears can lead to obsessive behaviors like checking bank balances multiple times a day.
I'm like, rocket money,
It's
rocket money,
my
rocket
favorite
money.
thing. I was all over that last night. You know what? But then
so
again,
funny.
did you see how much money I freaking saved?
I mean, see, now who's laughing?
Can
I'm
you
saying
believe that?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Over $1,000.
I told Adam about it. I'm like, do you know how much money she saved on her
Like,
insurance?
it's amazing. And then I was like super pissed at my insurance company for charging me that freaking much.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Gross.
Then difficulties enjoying wealth, struggling to enjoy the benefits of financial success. It's hard for me when they call it wealth because in my mind, wealth is like, I've got this like abundance of money.
Yeah, wealth
How
is
about, like,
old money.
Right.
Rich is new money.
how about just like enjoying your income? That feels more appropriate as in like, because
That is where I differ from you.
you
I
are
have no
so good
problem
at that.
with
You
that.
we are different in that way.
You feel guilt about like normal stuff
Yeah.
and
But
just
also,
like having fun.
you don't give yourself as much time, and I give myself more time.
That is so true.
So
I agree.
think that's where because
Yeah.
like I'm like going to water polo practice 2 nights a week, and like, you know,
I was just thinking about that. I'm like, that sounds so nice.
it is, Susie. We have to take a moment to talk about this, if only so I can encourage anyone.
I agree.
Who
Please
is,
do
I'm
encourage.
going to get emotional.
Okay.
Anyone who is an adult who has even a little bit of like, hey, I used to do this thing and I want to try again or play
Yeah.
again, or I've always wanted to do that and I don't know how. Join an adult sports league. I cannot even begin to tell you how I'm going to cry. Shocker. I feel so fulfilled in my life in like a whole new way. And it's like a feeling that I didn't think I would have. Like, you really think like, oh, this is something that I had to say goodbye to when it is so silly. I'm crying about this, but maybe
I totally
not
get it.
because like,
I totally get it.
it's
Because
like-
you've had a confluence of factors too. You have been enveloped by relationships for a while.
yeah.
And then you've also had an extreme physical change
Yep.
and challenge. And those two things have made, you naturally lose yourself in all
Totally.
that. Yeah.
Totally. And then the hysterectomy, like you said, but like menopause and like not
And
who
even
am
just
I?
like the challenge trauma, having
Yes.
that money taken and then you don't get to compete anymore.
Yes.
As
And
a
then like
result.
they took away, right. It feels like, well, now I really don't want to go back to this one place that allowed me the opportunity to
Compete.
compete and be like
Yeah.
that.
Physical.
And it is so much fun. Like, I really thought, and it's different than anything I've done before. Like, I've done the triathlons. It's different than an individual.
Oh, yeah, that
sport.
makes sense because it's like it's a community. Yeah.
I played in the scrimmage on Sunday, and we'd had like a little game. And before the game, like there are a few people that rotate as the coaches, and to have somebody do a pre-game pep talk. We're all in the pool. It was like, all right, everybody come in. We're going to focus on this and this and this. And remember, have fun. And I was like, I'm going to start crying right now. This is the cutest thing in the whole entire world. And then we all put our hands in together and say squid on 3. And I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I literally like got out of the pool. I was like, I never thought I would get another like coach pep talk ever in my life again. I thought those days were behind me. And I forgot how much I loved that. And I was like, yeah, let's play. And
I totally get it.
it
And that
was-
is such a joy. But I have to give you so much credit too, because it takes a lot of courage to do that.
Well,
It's
thank
very
you.
scary
It-
if you're just like waltzing into a totally different, they may know each other and you're the outsider,
Right.
all that.
Right. And I thought a lot about what I talk about on the podcast and what I talk about as a therapist.
Right, the
and
advice you give.
The advice
Yeah.
I give. And I was like, and it's one of those things where, when, I know you know this, you know the right thing that you're supposed to do, you know exactly what will help, and you're just dancing around starting. Like, you're just like, I don't want to. This is something I thought about for so long. And then I'm grateful for the Olympics that gave me like the little push, because I was like just jealous watching all the games. So maybe if it's something, there's my little bit of advice. Maybe if it's something that you're passionate about, watch a couple games on TV for motivation, so that you get that itch and you're like, oh, I really want to do that. Maybe,
I don't think it's limited to sports. I think of
I don't
people
either.
who play an instrument and then they, after high school, stopped. And then there's like local little bands and fun musical things that you can do. All sorts of arts.
Yes. My brother's girlfriend just started grown-up gymnastics, because other people like realize that this, like, post-Olympics, people really want to do this stuff. So she's...
Oh, has she previously been a gymnast?
I don't think so. I think
Oh
she's
my God.
very fit.
That
And
is a hoot.
but she's like, all right, here we go. And they're like doing those little rolls over the like cushiony pad. The same thing that the little 5-year-olds are using. And it's like the
Wow.
cutest thing in the world.
I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I really wanted people to know. I posted some videos about it, but I wanted people to know that I was really nervous too, that it was really hard, and they all, sometimes, I don't know if they do it every night, but I know that they go out to dinner, sometimes go out to dinner afterwards. And
Did
have,
they invite you?
well, not yet. And so I'm like,
God, fingers crossed.
I know, we'll see.
Like,
Like
what do you have
waiting,
to do?
because I
Like,
can't
play
just
your
like
cards
go.
right?
They also offer all these social meetups and like social events and outings. So on Saturday, I'm going to a wine, cheese, and volleyball meetup in the park.
Wine, cheese, and volleyball.
Yeah. And they said it's very casual volleyball. It's mostly for the wine and cheese and then some activity to do while we're there. But
That's
yeah,
fun.
BYOB. And so I'm going to like bring some charcuterie
Well,
in.
good for you. It's
It's-
inspiring. I know a lot of people are really excited about this for you, and it's so great. And I'm so glad
thanks.
no man's around to fuck it up.
Me too. It's the best. And like the team, it's just so nice. Everybody on the team is so nice. And
Like, do they say like, I
very
can't
funny.
believe Sarah from the challenge is here, or
nobody
what?
has even recognized me or knows me or anything like
They
that.
all know you.
I
and
don't believe it.
recognize
I
you,
really
weirdo.
don't think so. I don't think so. Because one guy was
They're
like
just polite.
asking me about my podcast that I host because he saw my video that I posted. He's like, I posted and tagged.
Okay, like he sees that you have that many followers and doesn't think like maybe there's a
I
reason.
don't know. I
Oh,
just
love it.
I feel like maybe they don't. And so,
Is he
like,
gay or what?
Yeah, I think this guy is, but
He knows you.
It's mixed. It's not every. It's like a whole.
I'm just saying the gay guys know MT fucking V.
Well, we'll
Get the heck
maybe,
outta here.
maybe. But I've like, and if nobody has said anything, and what am I gonna do? Hi, I'm Sarah from the challenge. Nice to meet you. Could you imagine? Ugh, kill me now. But
You don't need to do that. You have a fucking tattoo sleeve.
that's
Like you're
I'm
the
noticeable.
most
Right,
recognizable
right.
person.
Well, I know, but
ever.
I'm not gonna like. There, I feel like I'm not gonna like bring it up or talk like
Oh my god,
talk about it or whatever. So
so
But-
funny.
yeah.
Well,
there
anyway,
are some
I'm
very
proud of
funny
you for
people
doing
on the
it.
team. I really like that. There's a woman who has a hat that said, "Fish fear me, women love me," and I was like, I'm gonna be friends with her. I like her. She like I like you. That you're great.
Does she seem like the kind of person that would wear that hat? Like
She's
it's like,
funny.
Oh, yeah, that.
She's
okay.
She also had a shirt that had Ace Ventura on it and said like all righty then or something like that. And I was like, we're gonna be friends for sure.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder how you and I became friends. I really
Well,
do. Like I'm so glad, and
I mean, come on.
I love you, but
We're-
certain things come up, and I'm like, huh,
Yeah.
how did this happen?
But there are so many reasons that are obvious why we're friends. That those little things are just the stuff that keeps it interesting.
I mean, this goes both ways. Like, I don't know why you wanted to be my friend. It's not like I'm saying just directed
What?
at you. I'm saying like,
I was
there's-
desperate to be your friend.
she's like, I would take anybody.
And please, on the no, well, I didn't mean it like that, but how you
That's
said
really
it.
funny, though.
I would.
I get it.
I've always said my favorite quality of somebody is how much they like, how obsessed they are with me. So like, as long as you are that, then I'm gonna love you. So that's really what I'm looking for.
There's also something we're both obsessed with, and that is therapy.
Love
and
it. Obsessed. Shout out Sherry.
We happen to really love BetterHelp and have both had really great experiences on that. And this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, by the way. Listen.
Yeah.
Here's the trauma. Now I'm speaking in therapy terms. Here's like the problem we've talked about with therapy is like all the wrong people are getting it. No, and I joke because everybody should get it. But it sometimes feels like the people that need it most are the ones that are dragging their feet.
Yeah.
So if you're dragging your feet, maybe take a good look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And think, you know what? What am I so scared of?
Or if you're looking around and you're like, I'm annoyed with everybody else. Everybody else is a problem.
That is me.
You know what you can do? Go to therapy, and you will be surprised at how a little bit of work on yourself can magically make other people no longer a problem anymore.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. Turns out, all these jokes hiding a real deep story.
Yep.
Listen, we all have our coping mechanisms, but a therapist can help you work through all of it, whether it's stress, relationships, grief, whatever you're dealing with. You can benefit from therapy, and BetterHelp is great because it's so convenient. You can meet with your therapist however you want, wherever you want. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/braincandy today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/braincandy. Okay.
So yes, that's my little pep talk, and you know, just put yourself out there.
No, such good advice.
And because I remember for 2 years ago, I saw their float at the Pride Parade. And I said, wow, that looks really fun. And I looked them up. And so I waited 2 years. Oh, there was a little fly that was circling around Susie's head, and she got it.
And it was bugging me. I'm so happy right now.
I saw it.
Thanks, Sarah.
Good job,
This
Susie.
is why we're friends.
I will gladly celebrate all wins with you. Even the little ones. So yes, that is my story. I just really encourage people to like try, because like, what's the worst that could happen?
I always like, I think about whatever I procrastinate, and it could be joining a team, or it could just be like the laundry, whatever it is that you're putting off is like a canary in the coal mine. And you can look at that and think, what is the real story there? What is actually the problem? Because sometimes we just procrastinate and don't think about it. Mm-hmm. But there's usually like a reason, and you can maybe fix some of that, or, you know, just face it, depending on what you learn.
And sometimes we're like scared to start new things because it might mean a bunch of other things would have to change, but that's okay. And it can often be like change for the best. Like now I'm going to bed early and getting better sleep, but that means giving up binge watching my favorite TV shows or scrolling
I mean, that
through.
is a real sacrifice.
It is. And you have to you have to decide like, okay, I'm giving up this, but to gain this. But I can't tell you how long it's been since I've had that feeling of like wanting to jump out of bed to do something. And swimming has given me this feeling of wanting to, like, I'm like every day.
That's really good.
Yeah. The only thing that's not so good is the chlorine on my skin. And so I've learned a lot about, I learned a lot about the science of chlorine and all that and what you have to do to, and I have the best cure. So chlorine, when you feel it on your skin, you get that itchy feeling. It's these copper molecules that get stuck to your skin, and they will not rinse off with water or soap like that. You have to release the bind of these copper molecules, and it's in your hair. Everything is what turns your hair green. So kind of like, you know, brass, like kind of like oxidizes in like a weird way, like in your hair. And But what counters that is ascorbic acid, so vitamin C. So you can buy vitamin C powder, and you mix a half a tablespoon or teaspoon of vitamin C powder into some water, and you spray it on your arms and legs after you get out of the pool, and it neutralizes, it like releases the bond of the... I had no idea. I had been swimming for all those years, and nobody ever told me. And then it came up in my feed. This Olympic swimmer, was like, "This is how I keep my hair looking like this. This is my trick." And I was like, "Oh, she's about to sell me a product." And she did not. She told me, "Mix some vitamin C into your water, and you'll." And I've been using that, and I was like, "Oh my God, my hair's shiny again." So there's my little piece of advice. If you are a swimmer or you go in water that has chlorine in it, throw a little vitamin, spray it, and you won't have that. And it doesn't smell. I don't smell like chlorine.
How effective are those swim caps?
Well, this is what people are confused by.
Yes.
Swim caps are not designed to keep your hair dry.
Well, what the fuck?
They're designed to keep your hair out of your face so that
when can they make one that keeps your hair dry?
They do have them now. They have these ones, but they're not like aerodynamic. They are... and they even have ones that are like silk lined so that they won't damage your hair, but they look more like a hair turban, and they're tighter around the frame of your face, but then looser in the back so it doesn't break your hair.
Yeah.
The reality is...
I like what I'm hearing.
It's great, but there's no way that's staying on or fitting under a swim cap, like a water polo cap, or I can't be like swimming fast with that thing.
Are you serious?
There's really no solution except constant maintenance. And then I always get my hair soaking wet with regular water before I put a little bit of my Lola V leave-in conditioner in the ends. Then I wrap up my hair and throw the swim cap on, because then your hair's already filled with regular water and the chlorinated water can't get in there. It's kind of like a sponge, getting a sponge wet and then trying to get it wet again. It won't soak up any more water. So
you have so much information.
Well, I mean, I'm just, trying to save everybody's hair out here and passing along the
things
I learn. It's all I can do to not go into that locker room and be like, "Is everybody using vitamin C spray in here? Are we all doing that?" Like, I have to not be a know-it-all. I'm like waiting for somebody to ask me, like, "What are you spraying all over yourself?" And then I'll be like, "Well, let me tell you." And then I'll have the cure-all, and everybody will be like, "Wow, Sarah's the best."
And then like put you on their shoulders and
this
sing,
is how I
"She's
imagine
a jolly good
yes,
fellow."
This is how it happens in my mind. Like that. This is exactly why I think I became a therapist and started a podcast where I share facts, because I imagine that I share these things, and then people are like, "Keys to the city." Here you go.
We should have just called it "You're Welcome."
You're welcome.
Like, that's what our show is.
Yeah. It's either you're welcome or actually one of the two.
Listen, we're doing the Lord's work over here.
Yeah. So that's my story. But what else? I have some other things to tell you. Okay, this one, let me hear your take.
Uh-oh.
I think this article was in the New York Times. It was talking about our Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy. So for a long time, like, the Surgeon General is the physician who is giving us information, like usually coming out and talking about how smoking kills and saying like we need to be exercising or, eating healthy, blah, blah, blah. The Surgeon General recently, this Murthy, the article was talking about how a lot of his advice that he's giving now looks more like wellness. Like he's become more of a wellness like coach in a way, where he's talking about loneliness and like the epidemic of loneliness and needing connection and making friends. And there are mixed feelings on this. Mm-hmm. Some people are like, this isn't the responsibility of a physician to be dishing out this kind of advice. It's kind of silly that he's doing this. It needs to be more like medical advice. But then his argument, and then other people come in and say, well, this is so greatly linked. All the studies show that this is the thing that is most linked to positive health outcomes. And so what are we supposed to do? And in the whole article that I read, which was, I mean, pretty long, it never once mentioned what I think might be something that's at play. Maybe this is a hot take. Could it be, tell me what you think, that he is moving away, this like a shift in focus, because of the influence of like lobbyists or big business in those companies, that he would have to say like, don't eat that, like processed foods, and you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
That was kind of my feeling. I was like, maybe they're just not saying.
I do
this
think
stuff
there's a
because-
balance there, because maybe not even financially motivated, but I remember recently there was a study that came out, and it was one of those humongous studies that is like definitive,
Yeah.
and it was about alcohol, and it was basically like, don't do it.
Right.
Don't drink alcohol. It
Right.
is poison. Stop it.
Yeah.
And they were interviewing like a lot of, I think it was doctors or like professionals, you know, scientists, and it almost feels like they were hesitant
Yes.
to say that, because they know no one wants to hear that.
Right. I
And
agree.
They like want to say the thing where it's like, just be mindful and just moderation. Right?
Yes, Suze.
Yeah.
And
But
I
the
think
truth is, like, we shouldn't be drinking alcohol.
right. And then I think the other thing I was thinking was his advice is putting all of the responsibility on the person, on like
The individual.
the individual.
Instead of the systems.
Yes.
Yes.
And I feel like as the Surgeon General, you should be taking a step back and looking at the system and
Yes.
how we're healthy as a nation and saying,
And why?
yes,
Right?
thank you.
Why don't we have better health care?
Right?
Why are people so lonely and feel like they have to work constantly?
So I feel I was like, I wrote down how do big industries like tobacco and food have lobbying power that might shape public health messaging. Mm-hmm. And they did not mention that in the article even one time. So this is my hot take, but
This is my thing about even
I don't know.
like climate, like environmentalism, and how when people are like, just don't use a straw. And it's like, sure, yeah, that's great. But how about like, let's talk to CocaCola about their
Right.
packaging
Right.
and their fossil fuels that they're using and that kind of thing. I mean, if you look at a chart of like countries and their usage of electricity, including businesses,
Yeah.
like Google is like right below, you know, fucking Finland
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like a company by itself
yeah.
is using more than an actual nation.
Yeah.
Like an entire
Systemic change is way harder. So they'd rather be like, you guys should stretch every day.
Yes, that's what it feels like. And I'm
Yeah.
like, your little wellness chit chat
Yeah,
is
chit
not
chat.
helping to change the fact that our food system is fucked
Yeah,
in this
Vivek.
country. Yeah.
Can it?
And it's one of those things where it looks kind of like the menstrual leave or whatever, where on the surface,
Yeah.
this looks like a really great, progressive,
Right.
wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I don't. What I think we need are two different jobs. What I think
Right.
is we need a national wellness advisor, and we need a surgeon general.
Yeah. And I think it would be fair for the Surgeon General, though, especially if it's the Surgeon General, in this case under Biden, to say maybe everyone should have health care.
Maybe.
Like, I don't think that's out of order.
Right, that maybe your stress and the inability to relax or find calm or whatever comes from the anxiety that this system is creating and putting on you. Hello.
Right.
But take some deep breaths.
But yeah, meditate. Okay, can it?
You know?
Shove it right up your ass.
And also we're going to make it really hard for you to get a therapist and for us to cover that.
Exactly.
But
the systems,
prioritize your mental health.
Right.
How?
Self-care.
How? Right?
It's just like platitudes, and I'm so over it.
So.
And that is a bummer.
That was
it's like, I agree that the mental health stuff is important and does have important health outcomes. But more so are all these systems that are effed.
And don't stop talking about the dangers of and the problems with processed foods and some of the like palm oil, the ingredients that are in our food and how that is absolutely affecting our health. Microplastics, all those PFAS, whatever, all the plastics.
If we just consider
come the fuck on, search
tobacco. If we just look at that example, it's like encouraging people to stop smoking, great. Right. But what was required to curb smoking was all sorts of taxation and regulation and stuff that happened to the companies, to the system.
Yes, like, Susie.
They can both happen.
Making the taxes on it go up and not banning it in places and
like at Walgreens the other day, I saw there was a sign up above the cigarettes that said something like the U.S. government requires like Philip Morris or whatever cigarette companies to say nicotine kills 1,200 people a day. And that was just like up above the cash register. I mean, who knows if it has an impact, but at least we're holding things accountable, companies accountable. And the system.
When you go to other countries and they have the photos on the packs of cigarettes, those are effective.
They're disturbing.
I'm good. I'll pass. Thanks.
Yeah, it's not appetizing.
Yeah.
But our hot takes we're in agreement all the time about our hot takes.
Well, I know, but I feel like maybe this will be a hot take if you were, I don't know, the Surgeon General.
Or now I'm just amazed because like we've come a long way.
Didn't mention that one time.
What?
That could be the reason why his focus is more on wellness.
She said moron.
I know, I did.
I feel like it's weird though that the New York Times or wherever you read it didn't point out these things.
Yeah. It was the Atlantic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was in the Atlantic. The article's called "America Could Do Without Its Chief Wellness Officer." The nation's doctor has turned from addressing smoking and nutrition to worrying about America's emotional well-being. But I thought...
Who the hell wrote that? Can you see the author?
Yeah, Benjamin Meister.
Huh. I don't know if we could do without him, but...
Right.
It would be good if
we definitely
included
can't.
More information.
I think we need to... And I think post-COVID and people's distrust and just... What is the word I'm looking for? That's word for being a dummy. Not being educated, but ignorance. Oh my God! I was like, please help me find that word. I am like,
I've been there.
That word of all words. So yes, people's ignorance on basic medical facts and like trusting doctors. I think we need to be doing things to reinstill the confidence that the country has in medical professionals.
Well, but I feel like a lot of that distrust comes from the thing that I said, where like they're not entirely honest all the time. And they have to like weigh all this stuff like, well, people don't want you to say like don't drink any alcohol or whatever. And so they sort of like and they have their own agenda too. They have all this, you know how as a therapist, you have to do the notes after each session.
Yes.
And it's designed for the coding of insurance.
Yes.
And that changes how you frame things, maybe whatever. And it complicates it. And so doctors are always thinking that same stuff. And like, okay, well, this person wants this test, but that's expensive. And so like, we got to do this one first. I mean, it's
That's
sad.
why I'm so glad I don't take insurance so that I don't have to worry about because that's exactly why we have a whole disclaimer on our website that explains why we'll provide a super bill, but not going through that because it can change. Those things that we want it to be the most authentic therapy session without feeling like you have to get a diagnosis in the first 2 sessions so that insurance will cover it and all this. Sometimes
and I'm
people
not saying
just need
it's
help.
like, I don't think it's nefarious all the time or anything. I just think that like people have multiple considerations.
Yeah.
And the patient is just sort of like hoping that their doctor is going to be honest. And
That's a good point.
there's so many things that they have to consider.
Yep.
I don't envy them either. But as Grandma Meister says, you got to be smarter than your doctor.
Got to be smarter than your doctor all the time. Oh, my God.
It's a big job, too.
Time. Yep.
But I'm
Speaking of
glad
which,
that you mentioned that because
they canceled
that is interesting.
my fucking dermatologist appointment that I had booked 8 months in advance. I booked
canceled
it in
it?
April. The dermatologist.
Well, when are they going to see you?
I just found out. I have to like call them back and reschedule.
You have to be a squeaky wheel about that.
I'm going to be like, you
Tell
book
them
me.
you have a suspicious mole.
Okay. That's good.
Do it.
Yeah, and they'll just like draw in one and like take a picture of it.
Just show them one that's not suspicious and they'll be like, that's fine. What are they going to do? Tell you to go home? You're already there.
Right. Oh, I should just go. That would be smart.
Yeah, just be like,
Just
you know
show
what?
up
This is
and be like,
urgent. I
"I'm
have
here."
like a oozing.
Yeah, so what do you want me to
seeping-
do? I booked the appointment because I had an eczema outbreak after my hysterectomy. Well, guess what? It's no longer flaring up and it's no longer a problem, but
Yeah, all that vitamin C is like
probably
a cure.
What if? Oh, that's funny. Okay, what else do I want to talk to you about today? We have a little bit more time. I think I can get another. Okay, do you want to hear about an interesting philosophical thought experiment, or do you want to hear about the difference between men and women and their reviews in the workplace?
Oh my God, those are both great.
I know.
I'll do the first one, but save the next one.
Okay,
Like,
I will. Oh, don't
discard
worry.
that
It's
one.
a good one.
Okay.
So this one is called the Molyneux paradox. So the Molyneux paradox is this philosophical thought experiment, as I mentioned, from the 1600s.
I just keep
What philosophical thought
because we were
experiment?
just talking about moles, so it's like the mole and you. Like in my mind.
Molyneux, it's like a French term, but maybe because I wrote it out phonetically, I'm
just
pronouncing
can't
it like that.
Quit seeing you at the dermatologist.
Right. It's like that.
Yeah.
Moly.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So in 1688, this Irish philosopher, William Molyneux, he posed this question to John Locke. And he said, if a person born blind gained the ability to see, would they be able to recognize objects by sight that they previously were only able to identify by touch?
Okay.
So if you're born blind, you've only ever recognized so what they gave the example of like a sphere or a box. Things that are very distinct shapes with edges and where we're not talking.
Okay, so they've only touched them.
They've only touched things.
And now
they
they're
have
just
not
looking at
seen
it.
them. And now the paradox from 1688, they posed the question in that time, if they all of a sudden got the ability to see without exploring things with their hands, or would they be able to identify a sphere or a box just by sight?
Okay.
And luckily, we now have the technology, or science has caught up, where we have the answer to that and we know the solution.
It's yes.
We know
Or it's no.
No. I know. It asks a bunch of questions. So this is from a researcher at I can't remember where, or I didn't write down where. Pawan Singha did a study from 2007 to 2010 on 5 individuals that gained their sight back from operation or something.
Can you imagine?
Right. And so the answer is no. They could not immediately recognize objects. Their brains had to relearn what
That's
each
crazy.
item isn't.
How is that possible?
That crazy. It gives me goosebumps. And I feel like it's one of those things where like I read it and I was like, I have to talk about this. We have to, like, this is so
How is that
podcast worthy
possible?
because what the heck, what does it tell us about our brains and the brain's ability to adapt? It says that they had to learn to connect the visual input to the tactile knowledge. So
That's crazy.
it really shows that we develop learning in so many different places in our brain.
Yeah, because to us, it's like, well, those are just translate.
They go together. And that you would know based on how you felt, like what smooth felt, what round felt like. No, your brain does not. It has to go back and relearn all that. So,
boy, we're so stupid.
How about that? That's the Molyneux paradox that
I can't believe it.
Is we know.
I actually can't even believe anyone would even ask the question.
It is
because to me it seems
question
like obviously that it's a yes.
Right. And yeah, it is smart to pose that question as a what if, because the obvious answer is yes, and that's what they all believed. And so when the study actually came out, it's why this was so noteworthy, because it really went against our understanding. And it said that it really highlights the brain's ability to rewire itself. Did
John Locke ask the question?
No, it was a question that was posed to John Locke. There, I don't know, probably like hanging out.
Did he say what his opinion was?
Oh, it didn't mention that in the article.
I would love to know, because that guy was real arrogant.
William Molyneux. Oh, yeah, well, I mean, that is interesting.
They all were.
Right, they all were. If you were like...
Because that's it.
Nailing anything to...
Oh, you're a philosopher. Like, okay, John.
Right. Yeah. Oh, men who wanted the floor? What's new?
You have a lot to say?
Right.
He would have had a podcast if he were like...
Darren fucking Teed, all of those. Like, could you imagine?
John Locke's podcast.
Yeah.
It would be called...
It'd be like Unlocking the Truth.
Totally.
100%.
Totally. Okay, well, I'm amazed that that's the answer. And also at how our brains are so stupid and weird.
Yeah.
But you're telling me once they then see the sphere and then can touch it again?
Yes. They have to touch it and see it at the same time. They have to relearn. Their brains had to relearn what each item was. They didn't immediately recognize it. They had to connect the visual input to the tactile knowledge. So they had the tactile knowledge there, but they didn't have the visual input, and you need those to work together if it's going to like correctly identify something. If you just look at something without touching it and you only have the touch memory, you won't recognize it. What? Wacky.
That is such great information, Sarah.
Thanks, Suze.
Well done.
I'm just trying over here to teach you guys, bring you
We're
some
doing
fun
our
facts.
best.
Encourage and inspire,
That's nice. You're doing a great job, Sarah.
What do we talk about today?
We talked about a lot, but I want to say, like, your hair is so long and I'm mad about it.
Man, everybody has been saying that.
Nutrafol.
It really is. I can't remember any other time in my life where my hair has been
that long and that healthy.
Yeah. Since I was in second grade.
It's a new beginning.
Yeah, it's got to be all the good stuff. It's like good hair products, good juju, right? My plants are all thriving, and my mom does say that your plants are only happy when you're happy.
Oh.
And I've noticed this, that they do get a little, and it's funny, when my brother fell in love, all of his plants started thriving too, and I would go over there all the time. He changed nothing.
I believe it.
And his plants were I was like,
there's so much we don't know.
These look perkier. I know, because you know how I take inventory and notice little teeny tiny changes. I'm like, these plants didn't look like this before. And I know you haven't changed your plant maintenance, Lucas. He's just in love.
Plant maintenance.
So, yeah.
See, that's cool.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn.
There really is. And we'll keep bringing you amazing stories.
Sarah's probably in a good mood because it's spooky season, even though it's August.
Yep. Spooky season.
We have
for
money
me.
dysmorphia, both of us.
Yep. What'd you just say?
We have money dysmorphia, both
Yes.
of us. So you
terrible
should use our
money
codes.
dysmorphia. Please use our codes. Please subscribe.
sad.
Join our Patreon.
Please.
This is the so
Spare-
that you
Spare
know
a quarter.
we're so that we can get new duvet covers. It's been 10 years for both of us. And apparently, we're supposed to be replacing
This
those.
is so depressing. All right, people, we're just gonna go now. We love you. See you next
Bye.
time. Bye.